Welcome to this week's episode of Movie in a Pod. I am Clyde Smith.
And I'm Javier Villalobos.
On this week's episode, we are discussing the trailers for Tick, Tick, Boom, No Sudden Move, and our movie of the week, What Women Want. All right, JV, how are we doing this week, sir?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Hey, man, solid weekend, brother. Solid weekend. Back in the saddle again for our 24th episode, right?
Yep, 24.
All right, man. Going on
24.
6 months strong here. All right, we got some new trailers. I know you don't like musicals, but let's talk Andrew Garfield, Tick, Tick, Boom. Give me your thoughts.
I'm gonna read you my notes. That
Yes,
exactly
notes.
what I wrote. I wrote Andrew Garfield, musical, and let Clyde talk about this one. Nah, I didn't write that, but
I love it.
I kind of like this concept. Even though it's a musical, it's about a musician. It's about musical theater, performing arts, not just random people out in the world just dancing and singing in the middle of the street.
Not like in the Heights, right?
I guess it's kind of hard to tell, like, how much of a musical, quote unquote, it's going to be, because it is about music and it's about theater.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to watch this one just because I love, obviously, music and learning about other musicians and things they've been through in their lives as well.
Oh, yeah. And Andrew Garfield is still Spider-Man to me, bro. That's my guy. You know what I mean? That's my guy right there. This looks cool, man. It's a little different. Actually, me and Carmen went to go see In the Heights, written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and this one is as well. I don't know. Jonathan Larson is a real person and had some real struggles with trying to, in the music game or theater game or whatever. But I know Andrew Garfield, and I know that he's going to bring it. So I'm pretty excited about this one, man. It should be fun.
Good deal. Same here.
Should be fun there. And we got my man Don Cheadle hooking up with the legendary director Steven Soderbergh or Soderbergh. I don't know. DM me and tell me which one it is. I have no clue.
All they're going to do is send you words. So you're
not
still not going to be able to pronounce it right.
Yeah, I just didn't think about that. Anyway, don't tell me. So, No Sudden Move with Don Cheadle. What'd you think about this trailer, man?
Well, I remember we talked about this one before, but when it was just that real short kind of, wasn't even really a teaser. It was just like, here's a movie.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. First off, great cast.
Oh, phenomenal. Benicio del Toro.
A little Ray Liotta action.
I know. So good.
Kind of got from it. It's kind of a mob gangster situation. A group hired to do a job, and it kind of starts turning on them. Kind of sounds like maybe they were being set up in some way. But all these characters, all these actors are from some of our favorite movies, right?
Oh, 100%. Yes.
So looking very forward to seeing this cast portray these mobsters.
I mean, you have Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, David Harbour, Benicio del Toro, John Hamm, Don Cheadle, Kieran Culkin, Ray Liotta, Bill Duke. The list goes on. Just all-stars. They've all played in one way or another tough guys.
Yeah.
And this is a tough guy type movie. I love Don Cheadle and everything that the man does. He has this gravitas on screen. Even though he's tiny. He's really tiny. He's like 5'8".
Yeah, he's a little tiny man. Yeah.
But you don't see that. Like, he doesn't play 5'8" on screen. You know what I mean?
He's still taller than me. But
but he always plays like these larger than life characters when he's on screen, and he just does it so well. So I don't know, man. Steven Soderbergh, he hasn't had a movie in quite some time, so we'll see what's going on here. But he always directs fantastic flicks. All right, let's discuss this week's movie, What Women Want. This movie came out in 2000, along with a lot of great movies that came out this year. I have a laundry list, but these are some of the ones that I love. Unbreakable, Castaway, Almost Famous, American Psycho, Memento, Bring It On, Aaron Brockovich, Romeo Must Die, Remember the Titans? Boiler Room, come on, fantastic flick.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Congeniality, Gone in
Mm-hmm.
60 Seconds, and the Owen Wilson movie with my man Jackie Chan, Shanghai Noon. Such a fantastic flick, man. What Women Want is directed by Nancy Meyers. They do have a nice little writer's room, including Josh Goldsmith, Kathy Yuspa, and Diane Drake.
This one had a budget of $70 million.
Wow.
Box office came in at $374.1 million.
Nice.
That's some jack there.
Mel Gibson, bro.
So starred in this movie, as you just stated, Mel Gibson as Nick Marshall. He's our Chicago advertising exec.
AKA the sex god.
Yeah. We have Helen Hunt as Darcy McGuire, Marissa Tomei as Lola, Alan Alda as Dan Wanamaker, which is Nick's boss, Ashley Johnson as Alex Marshall, which is Nick Marshall's daughter. That's basically the hit of the cast. Everybody else is just kind of in and out.
Oh yeah. So JV, go ahead and give us a quick synopsis of this movie, sir.
This is a story of a mortal man named Nick Marshall. He's received one of the greatest powers in the universe. One that's only comparable to Professor Charles Xavier.
Yes.
Right? He acquires the ability to hear female thoughts. He uses this to have some good times. He grows as a person, and he ends up finding true love.
Dude, okay, that is the best synopsis for this movie ever, okay? I can't. I'm done. We're done with the pod. Let's call it a week. We'll see you guys next week, all right? So, the first thing we always want to do when we dive in is talk about the characters. And our main protagonist, front and center, the entire movie, the camera follows him, Nick Marshall.
So he's introduced as a playboy misogynist. He's into his good times and his career. And we see that throughout the movie. And really, you see it all the way to the end of the movie. He does grow a little bit, as he's going through this whole character building storyline, I guess. It's a lot of character building for everybody, really, through the movie. So, yeah, he's, typical career driven, makes a good living at what he does. He definitely shows it.
So, he's an advertising executive who is a man's man. This is said multiple times in the beginning of the movie, monologued by his ex-wife on her wedding day. He's that single divorced dad who runs around Chicago and sleeps around.
Oh, yeah.
Middle-aged, good-looking man, good body. Is Mel Gibson in his prime, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he looks good, has the looks, girls and everything. I love the beginning because they're, playing into him and just being nice because he is kind of the boss at the job, he's a level executive. So every woman that is under him, are they really think he's funny and amazing, or are they just playing games or just trying to get by throughout the day, right? And that's one thing that I thought about this viewing, especially in today's world, right?
Mm-hmm.
How men kind of gallivant and are kind of chauvinistic and make these inappropriate jokes. I think everybody likes it. That's what he was doing at first, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. He does have this character arc in this movie, and the arc peaks. And in a lot of movies, the arc kind of goes down, bottom.
Yeah.
But this movie, it did not, man. It kind of kept peaking and then kind of flatlined towards the end, where like, all right, he is a better person now. Yeah. But he kind of goes through those trials and tribulations, as everybody's supposed to do in the movie. So,
right.
But I did like your intro because one of my lines were, he uses his Professor X type powers to use women, but then learns from them and becomes a better dad,
Yeah.
just man all the way around. So it's a tale as old as time, but Mel shines with his charisma. And I'm gonna say it. He's oozing with style and sexual appeal, man. He does it from start to finish, like just fantastic
Oh
in
yeah.
this role. I honestly wanted to be Nick Marshall when this movie came out. Like I was like, I'm gonna be an ad executive.
Fair.
I'm gonna run around Chicago and be awesome. None of that has happened.
Right.
All right.
Right.
What about Darcy McGuire, Helen Hunt?
She comes off kind of the opposite of Nick.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
she comes in as the stories told about her before actually getting introduced is that she's basically a ball busting, career driven woman.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the B word so much.
Yeah, let's not do that. We're trying to keep
Yeah.
our episodes G rated over here, Javi. Damn it,
Yeah,
boy.
they get marked explicit no matter what.
They really do.
So she's basically comes off as being that, career driven. I'm the boss. You're going to do what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And those are all the stories you get before we actually see her. And then when she comes on screen, we find out she's actually, just a nice woman who's just trying to make it through this business that's very heavily man driven.
Yeah, populated by men. Think Mad Men,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All the idea guys were these men who drank bourbon at 1 PM. You know what I mean? So smoked cigarettes and cigars until their lungs were black. But she's different, right? So she's this advertising executive who actually takes the role Nick was gunning for, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And she kind of shows him and everybody else how this job is going to work. Because this ad executive, he wants to definitely get business for women and sell products for women. And they bring her in for this role, and she's fantastic in it. One of the things that I love is, honest opinion, my wife is never going to listen to this pod, so it's all good.
We found that out.
Helen Hunt, yeah, we found that out real quick.
We found out both neither of our wives listen to this.
What movie did you guys just do? Did you guys do Spiral yet? Yeah, that's literally the pod we just recorded and it just dropped. But no. Helen Hunt, ever since Mad About You, I think was the show with her.
Mm-hmm.
Hugest fan ever. Just like my wife, Helen Hunt. Always.
Fair.
Her in this movie, her in Twister, like just. But she's smart, she's sexy, she's the definition of that classic beauty in this role, right? Where she walks in the room and, the office and the meeting or whatever, the boardroom, and she takes over. She has that control. Yeah. And that's a power move to Nick. She's just doing her job. You're right. She comes in and she's like this nice woman who just wants to get the job done. But to Nick, she's this ball busting woman, power hungry and stuff like that, but she doesn't display that. It's just how Nick is perceiving her because she took Nick's job. Right.
And all the things he's heard about her.
Yeah.
And she says the same thing. She says, I've heard about you as well.
She's just better than Nick at literally everything with that job.
Right.
And Nick knows that. He knows he's a dying breed. And she's the new hotness and he's the old and busted, really. You know what I mean? So what about Lola? One of my favorite characters in this movie, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So she's doesn't have a gigantic role, but her time on the movie was great. She tries her hardest not to fall for Nick's ways, his sweet talk, his his moves. Ultimately she does once he gets his abilities, right?
Yes.
He's able to manipulate her, which is what he does to all the women once he figures that out.
Oh yeah. With great power comes great response. He's never read a Spider-Man comic.
No,
simple as that. Not. He clearly has not, right?
He just heard with great power.
Yeah,
we can have some fun.
So she's this coffee barista who wants more out of life. Doesn't just want to serve coffee. And she is Nick's casual hookup but she also wants a lot more from him
Yeah.
once she does give in. And it's just interesting how it's a cat and mouse game kind of throughout the
Hmm.
rest of the movie between those two, because the actual love story is between, the rom-com is between Nick and Darcy.
Yeah.
And but he hooked up with Marissa in the movie, Marissa Tomei's character Lola, excuse me, and she kind of comes in and out, which is awesome. You're a player, but he's also a divorcee dad. He has a daughter, Alex Marshall, going through life. Just
Right.
that's my
Got.
first note. Going through
Yeah.
life as a teenager, right?
He says that she's 12 at the beginning, and she's like, "Yeah, well, I turned 15 at some point."
Yeah, she's she is that stereotypical kid from, when I say stereotypical, I mean like, from the movies, from a movie or a TV show or whatever,
Hmm.
who is comes from a divorced family, navigating that, spending the next 2 weeks with her dad while he's going through these powers and is changing, morphing into Professor X. So
Yeah. Well, that goes to another point towards Nick. She likes her mom, and she seems to like the stepdad, but Nick's been a shit dad. So
yeah, he's probably the dad who's there with the checkbook,
right.
but never the dad who's there emotionally.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has good kind of background art behind the love story between Nick and Darcy. She's kind of going through her own stuff, like you said. It doesn't take up much of the movie, but it's in there enough that it helps Nick grow as well
I think
in his character arc.
I think you're right there. I think it's definitely Mel Gibson, Nick Marshall movie. He's the protagonist,
Oh
he's
yeah,
front and center. But I think every woman who's in this movie helps him grow and be a better man. Less of a
right.
chauvinistic pig, less of a, sexist asshole. All these things, all these women are helping him grow, and that's what kind of drives the movie. So the last person I want to talk about is Judy Greer's character. Like, in the grand scheme of things, right? Sometimes I look at movies like video games, and this is a side quest, right? Follow me here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. I'm
Erin the
with you.
file Erin the file girl, she works at the ad exec company. She's lonely, she's an outcast type. Just kind of in the background. People kind of run into her, and she drops all her files and everything and has to pick them up. And when Nick gets his powers and can hear women's thoughts, he starts to learn that she's a little creepy, she's lonely, she feels like nobody cares about her, and that she's a little suicidal as well. So
Yeah.
I call, for such a fun, introspective take on women, there's like this side quest that is kind of dark, but interesting at the same time, but also helps Nick grow. What are your thoughts?
Completely agree with the different females through the movie, that they have their place in Nick's story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Judy Greer as Erin, she definitely was really, for such a small role, was really heavy on him. I mean, there was a whole scene dedicated to her
Yeah.
character.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell that her in general and that real dark side was really important for his story arc as well. Like understanding that the way they treat women and the way they look at them and, use them for as below them,
Yeah.
you know, is really weighing on this girl.
So let's talk about the plot a little bit here. Nick has these powers and what he does with them, right? Once he has the powers and meets Darcy and everything, his main motivation is just to beat her, be better than her at
Yeah.
that job that she won, right? And he does it by it's a visual movie, but it's also a real audio movie because you don't see them acting, you just hear their thoughts. But Nick is like literally right next to them, and he's kind of does this like weird like dog head turn face thing. I like when he's listening to them. Did you notice that? Right, and
Yeah.
that was intentional because he does it all the time in the movie, and how he's hearing her thoughts. And I love it how when Alan Alda's character always comes in and has a question, he's like, he listens to her, he listens
Yeah.
to what Darcy's thinking, and then he says it before her or says it better than her. And then Alan's character always takes Nick's idea. So he is competitive. That's something that's a word that we didn't use to describe him, but he's really competitive and wants to defeat her at first.
Agreed. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And he does that with some of the other ladies. The scene where they're all sitting together and just discussing, I guess, advertisements for ibuprofen?
Yeah.
Was it, or Advil or something like that? And he listens to all of them as they're thinking about stuff and tries to turn it on anybody he can at this point.
Yep.
It wasn't just Darcy.
You know, Darcy's character, Helen Hunt, she wants to be her natural self. You know, this is the ad agency that she always wanted to work for. You know, applied, got turned down from a job there in her previous world, but you know, she just wants to be the best. And in this time frame, you know, she falls for Nick. But would he have been able to have her fall in love with him if he couldn't hear her thoughts, right? And that's what kind of drives the rom-com aspect of this.
Yeah.
Him not thinking he's going to fall for her. He just wanted to beat her. And then him falling in love with her and kind of, is it manipulating her to fall in love with him? What do you think?
I don't necessarily think he manipulated her. I mean, I'll take that back. Yeah, he definitely manipulated her. But he did it to a point to where he kind of started falling for her and backed off of that.
Yeah.
So he was, you know, using her thoughts to do these ideas, and she was like, "Oh, you know, you're good at your job. You're coming up with all these great ideas." Then they end up going out for the drinks, and he's kind of listening to how she's feeling and playing off of her emotions.
Yeah.
But then he comes to that point of, you know, I kind of like this girl. So he kind of backs off of that and tries to be more of a gentleman, I guess, because he is starting to fall for her. And he just doesn't know how to handle it.
It's a very interesting arc.
Yeah.
Where he comes in, this playa, comes in, wants to beat Darcy, comes in, wants to be able to just manipulate and understand women. Because also a part of it is Darcy's going after Nike's women's division.
Yeah.
Nick gets wind of that, and he's like, I'm going to kill this. This is going to be what's going to put me at the 44th floor, right? Is where she is currently, where he wants to be. And so he uses his new tool in his tool bag to fully understand women. And, you know, he goes to yoga classes and stuff. He goes running, you know, to fully understand them. He's a manipulating asshole, is basically what he's doing. And he manipulates her into falling in love, but you're right, where he falls back after he's like, damn, I actually love this woman as well.
Yeah.
Because at first, after they got cool, he was just trying to probably just get in the sheets with her. Remember, we're trying to keep this PG, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's just very interesting take on that. So
yeah, definitely a whole different story with Lola, though. He did not fall in love with her at all.
My God. Well, okay. One of the best scenes, right? And it's a conquest, right? It's a notch on his belt, right? And then when he finally does hook up with her, I love that scene because at first he can hear all her thoughts and he's doing a horrible job. But he's thinking he's doing a fantastic job in his head until he can hear her thoughts. So I don't want to get too personal, but you know how many guys have dealt with this, right? We don't really know. We don't really know.
Right. That's what I was saying. He's, you know, just a mortal man with his incredible power. And and you know, he's using it for good and he's using it for evil.
Yes.
So with Lola, like you said, he gets kind of put down there at first. Like, okay, I'm not as good at what I do as I think I am. People are just saying it.
Yeah.
Then he decides to figure it out.
Round 2, baby.
And
put me back in the game, coach.
He did his thing that second time.
Did his thing. And then she got obsessed with him. You know what I mean? Stalker vibes a little bit. Yeah. Where he eventually has to, not going to spoil it, but he eventually has to let her go and the way that he does it, it's so 2000s, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it can happen nowadays in a script, but, well, I guess it could, but it's definitely so 2000s on the nose, man, about how he kind of ends that relationship with her. Because now that he understands women, he doesn't want to let her down. He doesn't want to, like, break it off. There's an understanding, you know what I mean?
He can hear her, and she's also being very vocal.
Yes. Yes. So, Hav, we talked about MacGuffins during our Be Cool pod, and then I went back and thought about all the famous MacGuffins in movie history. There's actually been a bunch throughout the history of cinema. So we have R2-D2, that droid who has that important message that they have to get to the rebels. And then there's that Ark from Raiders of the Lost Ark that the Nazis are after. And then there's that damn videotape and Enemy of the State that none of our listeners want to listen to, right?
Yeah.
Literally one of my favorite pods that we've done. I love the movie and nobody wanted to listen to it. Guys, is that my blender? Go listen to it, okay? It's fantastic. So we have Back to the Future, which is fantastic flick, right?
Yes, sir.
There's a hot button topic for a bunch of moviegoers and movie buffs about what is the MacGuffin of that movie. Is it that DeLorean time machine? Or was it that picture that he had with his family fading away? Now, before you answer, Javi, about what your take is, there's absolutely no wrong answers here. People see it from both sides.
Right. And I see it as the picture.
Okay.
The DeLorean to me is more of a character in the movie. But the family fading in the picture is what keeps him doing what he's trying to do to get it all right.
Yeah. Agreed, man.
And we want to know what our listeners' favorite MacGuffins are and why.
Yeah, so connect with us through our socials. It helps us grow our pods so we continue to provide great content. You all know our social pages by now. Movie in a Pod on Facebook and at Movie in a Pod on Twitter and Instagram.
And don't forget to like, share, and comment on all our content.
Talk to you all soon. Let's talk about some key moments in the story, right? There's that illumination or that aha moment.
Yeah.
And once again, this story is Nick's story. So let's talk about a few of those. When Nick first goes to his therapist, right?
Oh, yeah.
Uncredited Bette Midler in this movie. We didn't even talk about her, right? But like her 3 or 4 minutes in this movie is just transitional. It's fantastic. It puts Nick in a different mindset.
Yeah, it's funny because she kind of reacts to how, another man would, I would think, if they would actually believe him.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh my God. Basically can be a god right now.
Yes. Nick Marshall is a sex god, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that changes his. He's scared of this power.
Right.
And then he goes to her and she kind of puts it in a perspective of, bro, you have a gift, right?
Yeah.
She's basically the Uncle Ben of the story, right? Ben Parker, with great power comes great responsibility, but he ran out the door before that second part is what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was like, that's basically what happened here.
Yeah.
And he goes and does his thing, man. And he is this more suave, more chauvinistic at first. It isn't until he really starts working on the Nike campaign, right? Which is another part where he's like, I'm gonna kill this, and this is what's gonna beat Darcy. So there's these transition points in the movie where he kind of changes his motives that keeps the story going.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like, talking about these little rapid fire because I don't want to spoil the movie, but Nick starts to understand his daughter.
Yeah.
Very important, man. Very important there.
Yeah, when he's listening to a teenage girl's thoughts, getting ready for prom night.
Yeah.
Here's some things he don't want to hear.
He did not. But I like even before that, right? When he came home, said he's going out on a date, but his daughter and her friends were on the bed. And they were just thinking like shitty thoughts about him and how much of a douchebag of a dad he is. and then he like flips it on him. You know what I mean? Order some pizza.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the house, ladies.
Yeah.
You do what you do. I'm gonna be out late. Just be careful. You know this that like awesome dad stuff, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's the best dad ever. I want my dad to be
Yeah.
like that." Those are turning points where he's starting to realize not only can he use his powers for bad, but he can also use it for good. Right or wrong, I don't know if he's doing it for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, but it's still like a transition point. So
Yeah. I mean, it's still manipulation regardless.
100%. What is this story kind of trying to tell us, right? I've seen this movie a million times and I get something out of it every single time that I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of those classic tales where what I was that was 21 years ago. I was a wee
Yeah.
lad when this movie came out. It's one of those movies that the more you progress, the more you get older, I think you have a better understanding and appreciation for a movie like this. But talk to me, man. What is this movie trying to tell us?
So there's quite a few different things. I mean, you got obviously people that need attention. You know, you treat somebody badly, they can go into a bad place. You know, everybody has feelings about you,
Yeah,
whether they're good or they're bad. It just depends on how you treat them. I mean, he, like the arc with his daughter, you know, at the beginning, he was just kind of that deadbeat dad who was around every once in a while. Then he starts to listen to her and her thoughts and what she wants and tries to change to be better because
yeah,
now he knows he's hasn't been good. Same thing with Darcy and pretty much every other woman in the office. No, nobody likes him, and it's because he thinks he's awesome, but he's really not.
yeah.
Yeah, not everybody is going to agree with you, and that's just something you got to live with.
You know, one of the things that I take away from my first time watching this and from my most recent time, the oldest saying, you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? That's the tried and true tale about why we're so different. This movie also tells that we are all human beings. You know, we all have feelings, thoughts, intentions, aspirations, goals. What are you going to do with all of that, right? How are you going to treat this person who has all these same things that they're going after that they want out of life? Are you going to treat them like a piece of meat? You know, another notch on your belt? Are you going to
Yeah,
just not show them any attention at all? And this story, this movie shows all of that, right? And tells all of that through the eyes of Nick Marshall. So it's a rom com.
oh yeah, definitely.
You know, there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of comedy. But let's talk about the tone and the mood for a second, man. Well, what'd you think there, Javi?
As far as the tone, it was funny through the whole movie, but it's also talks about a lot of serious things. I
Yeah,
mean, we're talking about, you know, we keep going back to Judy Greer,
yeah,
her character, Erin. You know, they're treating her like she doesn't exist and, you know, she's just going around, people bump into her, knock her stuff out of her hands, nobody helps her. And stuff like that's very serious.
oh yeah,
And then you got the dirty jokes he's telling these women that they don't want to hear. So there's a lot of serious pieces to it, but it still keeps it funny and kind of lighthearted, even though they are talking about stuff that really issues that were happening and still going on.
exactly. You know, in the workplace, and that's because Nancy Myers is a genius with her direction, and the
Mm-hmm.
writers' room were two women and a guy, so that perspective of how women feel with all those thoughts. You know, I work in an office full of with women. I don't know what they really think about me. You know, and that's kind of the perspective. If you don't know what to think, then you should be on your best behavior at all times. You know what I mean? Like that's one of
100%.
that's one of the things that this story is telling you, right? When you work in a very male and female type office environment or whatever the case is, don't be an ass.
Definitely something my mother taught me.
Exactly, man.
You get those comments when somebody like would tell my mom that, "Oh, you have such a nice, polite boy," and she's like, "Who are you talking about?"
Say with my oldest, right? Because I know you're not talking about a
Yeah.
hobby.
I guess that leads back to respecting people, and that's something that he learns.
Not treating him like another notch on his belt, piece of meat, somebody that just can
Yeah,
hear his horrible jokes. They don't want that crap. You know what I mean?
right.
So this movie paints that picture and paints it so vividly, and it's very easy to obtain that movie. This is one of those movies that needs to be taught in school. I don't know if it's college. I don't know what level, but there's such an introspective on how kind of both sides see things and hear
Yeah.
things, man.
Oh yeah.
Most movies are filmed and staged in LA and New York. Respectfully, those coastal cities. This takes place in Chicago, and I love every second of it, man. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They could have definitely had this in LA. They could have definitely had this in New York. But like Chicago has always been one of the meccas for like advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And they just use a lot of this city, man. They make the city beautiful with all the running around that he does. The cityscapes and everything. They just use a lot of Chicago, and it's just gorgeous, man. What do you think?
Oh yeah, it was definitely gorgeous. It was kind of dark as well.
Yeah,
which I think brought a lot of that romantic side of it. When they're eating dinner, it's dark out. When he's just kind of around thinking about stuff, it's dark. It's all like kind of after work hours situations.
Yeah.
So that was played out real nice. And then there was also upbeat scenes where it was bright, kind of the funner scenes, the outdoor party at the beginning, it was still pretty light out. The dress shopping scene with his daughter, that was the most upbeat part of the movie.
Yeah, man.
But when he was having issues, it was raining outside. The decor and a lot of the things that were going on in the office where all this stuff was happening was real dark.
Yeah.
They kind of they weave you in and out of how you kind of want to feel in the sets.
That's exactly what I was thinking, man. Like they do that perfectly, right? If you want to be upbeat and fun, and you see like sexy, happy Nick, right? Like when he was just walking down the streets of Chicago after he saw his therapist, it's just beautiful. It's bright. It's beautiful. There's so many beautiful women around and everything. But when he's down on his luck or thinking of something introspective, learning. I think learning is a really, really good word.
Mm-hmm.
It's more dour. It's more dark. It's more cramped. The lighting makes you feel really cramped, and he's going through it right there. So very fantastic. All right, man. So two of our favorite questions here at the end. What was your favorite scene?
Oh, there was a lot of good ones in here, man. But the one that left me laughing the most was when he's first leaving his apartment and he goes outside and Flo
I love Flo.
Is outside the door lady, Loretta Devine. Hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny. She's just like, she's being real nice to him because that's her job. But in her head, she's like catcalling him, talking about his butt and all this stuff. And it was bad. Like, it was funny. But if it was flipped the other way.
Exactly.
It's just one of those things where it's kind of like if it was the guy calling the girl, it's in her head, but for that time it was funny.
And like that's a great scene because he felt really uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
He felt like a piece of meat, right? Like
oh yeah. Because she kept going. Like it wasn't just one time.
He's like, I think I'll walk today. You don't have to get me a car. And then he almost gets hit by a car trying to cross the street. That's definitely a good
that one
scene,
had
man.
me laughing and stayed in my mind. What about you, man?
So before my scene, that's my favorite. There's this montage where he's learning from women and outdoes Marcy at every turn. Right? He's running around the city, like he's doing that weird like dog head turn thing, listening to women and all their thoughts. He's taking notes to try to get this Nike women's division deal, and then Darcy walks in on Alan's office and holds up a life sign, and he's like, I already got one from Nick. She's like, damn it, right? Like she could just see it on her face, like how.
Yeah, that was great because there was no dialogue.
Exactly, it's just a montage.
She's like walks in, she shows him the picture, and he's like on the phone. He's like on a phone or something.
Yeah, and
he just picks the other one up, and you know what it was.
He just does like that Michael Jordan shrug, like I don't know what to tell you, like. But that montage kind of slows down to Nick in the break room with all of those women. He's telling all these appropriate jokes that they're actually laughing at.
Yeah.
And then, he's out there giving advice. being really understanding.
Yeah.
One, he can hear their thoughts, so he's kind of cheating in that aspect, but this is the parts where he's actually using it for good.
Agreed.
And that shows maturity, right? That shows that he went from A to B in the movie. And that's really hard to do, like writing wise, but this writer's room, they do it easily, and it's just fun to watch.
Like you said, he's giving advice and being nice to these other women, but at the same time, he's stealing the ideas from Darcy and doing dirty to her.
Still kind of an asshole a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He's moving in the right direction, I guess.
Kicking and screaming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to go easy, guys.
Yeah.
All right, bro. What is your favorite line of this movie? Your favorite quote, line, or whatever?
I always go for kind of the funny stuff. I always enjoy the funny lines and the funny scenes. So my favorite one from here was when Nick and Darcy are in her new townhome, I guess, and they're walking around. She doesn't have no furniture or nothing in there yet. She's moving in. And he says, I can see elegant parties. She says, you can see all that? He says, well, maybe you're naked and I'm the only guest, but still elegant. like they're not talking about anything sexual whatsoever.
Nothing.
And they haven't been sexual at all with each other.
Yeah.
And then he just drops that one in there out of nowhere. It's fantastic.
That's a good line, man. That's definitely fun there. So
very classy. What about you?
Mine's that voiceover from Darcy McGuire. And it is kind of long, but it's like if you're going to try to be an actor or actress or whatever, and you need to learn, or you're going to school for this is one of those monologues that you definitely should do. No games. How did I get that in? She's running. It's early. It's quiet. Just the sound of her feet on the asphalt. She likes to run alone. No pressure, no stress. This is one place that she can be herself. Look any way she wants. Dress. Think any way she wants. No game playing. No rules. Games, sports, rules, games, sports, rules. Playing by the rules. Playing by the games versus playing. Playing by the rules. Playing games versus playing, right? This is Darcy trying to think about how she's going to kill this Nike campaign, Nike women's campaign, and get it and getting in her head. During this time, you have Nick looking over her shoulder, kind of doing that weird dog head turn thing, listening, right? So they're kind of collabing, but not really. They're not really collabing, but he's collabing with her, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And he's basically in there trying to steal her idea. But I go to think about this line, and it's my favorite because it's easy to see a man do everything she just said. From a man's perspective, like why does a guy go running? Why does a guy hit the asphalt every morning or night or whatever, right? But to kind of hear it and understand it from a female's perspective about why they do it, was just fantastic, man. And it's one of those things that are just eye-opening to me with learning about women. So good scene, good line. All right, JV, What Women Want. What are your thoughts on how many buckets of popcorn did you give it?
I really like this movie. Very fun movie, very informative movie. For all that, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
What about you?
Yeah, man, this also gets a 4 buckets of popcorn for me. I love this Mel Gibson. He usually plays in action stars and everything of that nature. I love Helen Hunt. She's was bae back in 2000 for me. Sorry, Carmen, I love you, but Helen Hunt was my first love. Even before Jennifer Love Hewitt, there's so many, and Gabrielle Union. Damn it, Dwayne Wade. But anyway, no, this movie's awesome, man. It's fun, introspective. I learn a lot every time I watch it.
Yeah,
this is one of those movies where it's just good to watch every few years because you'll get a better understanding for it every single time.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for subscribing to this week's episode, talking through What Women Want. Next week, for our 25th episode, we will have a Heroes vs. Villains bracket challenge with our first guest. Continue to check our socials about updates for this upcoming episode. I am Clyde Smith, and you can find me on Twitter as I am Clyde D. Smith.
I am Javier Villalobos, and you can find me on Twitter at Mr. J8200.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.